Well, they finally released it.
Was that a ceremony I missed?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Was It Good? My name is Bob, and tonight the first episode of season 4 of The Chosen dropped on streaming. This is something that people have been waiting for a while since it was released at theaters. It got delayed, but it was finally here.
And so it's time.
And now that everybody's going to have the opportunity to check out the season on streaming, I wanted to go back, rewatch the episodes, and go ahead and talk about each one as it releases. Now, just a couple of quick housekeeping things. For those that wanted me to review season 3, I haven't forgotten about you. I just wanted you to know that the review for that season is coming soon.
How soon are we talking about here?
I hope to get that out within the next few days, as I actually just finished a rewatch of it and it's fresh in my mind. Also, I do have another YouTube channel with a couple of friends of mine where we put on a show called Dad's Turn to Talk. This is an opportunity for 3 dads to get together and talk about the things that we want to talk about. Now, I bring up this channel because my 2 co-hosts on that channel are Jewish. They've heard about this show and they're interested in checking it out, and they want to give their perspective. And we thought that that would be an interesting show to give a Jewish perspective of The Chosen and see what they thought about it. Now, that episode probably won't happen for another few weeks, but it is coming. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below, or go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. The link to that channel will be in the description below. Now, as far as this review goes, there are going to be some spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, go ahead and go over to the Chosen app and check out episode 1 of season 4, and then come back and watch this video. Now, if you have seen the episode, why don't you go ahead and share your thoughts in the comment section below and tell me what you thought about the episode. Did you like it? Was it emotional to you? Did you see all of season 4 when it was in the theaters? Was this a rewatch for you? I'd like to know what you thought. As always, don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get to this review. Episode 1 of Season 4, titled Promises, sees Queen Herodias use an intoxicating dance by her daughter to convince King Herod to put an end to John the Baptist. What they don't realize is that no one can stop who he prepared the way for. Now, when I first saw season 4 in the theaters, I thought it was easily the best season of The Chosen so far. Now, the question is, would I still feel that way after I rewatched the entire season? Now, after rewatching episode 1, my opinion hasn't changed really a whole lot about that first episode, because it starts off what is an intense season, and I think that it still had that impact on a second watch that it did on the first one. This episode hits you in the gut right from the get-go, and it continues throughout the rest of the season. Now, despite the fact that it's a gut punch, there's actually a lot of things that I like about this episode. Now, first off, I think this episode does what hasn't been done before, and that is that we actually got to spend a little bit of time learning about John the Baptist. One of the complaints that I had about season 3 is that there's this underlying theme, or not theme, but this underlying story of John the Baptist being in prison, and we don't really get to spend a whole lot of time with him. And I would have liked to have spent a little bit of time with him, but instead, that's kind of waited on until this season. And it's not so much that we get to spend time with him, but we learn a little bit more about the circumstances of how he came to be through that scene where we see Mary going to visit with Elizabeth and Zachariah, and you actually see Elizabeth grab her belly when Mary walks in and calls her name, and because of that, the baby inside of her jumps and she feels that, and then she tells Mary about that. And so we see the importance that John is going to play in Jesus's ministry from even before birth. And so I liked that we saw that. And then during his actual execution, we see a little bit about how he got his name and the events surrounding that. And it was interlaced into the scene where he's actually executed. And I thought it was a beautiful scene, how they kind of meshed the two together. And I really liked the way that that played out. One of the things I actually enjoyed watching, and I'm surprised I enjoyed it, was I kind of enjoyed watching Herodias work. I mean, this is a lady who had her pride hurt by John, and you watch the way that she manipulates everything, and it was kind of interesting to watch, because here she is making sure that her daughter's dance is perfect, because she wants to make sure that it can be used to influence Herod. And then during the banquet sequence, one of the people who is serving the wine is pouring his cup and starts to lift it up, and she's like, no, pour more. And she's trying to make sure that Herod's had plenty to drink here. And she's manipulating everything to kind of get the results that she wants. And like I said, it was kind of interesting to watch. And then Salome's dance itself, I thought was actually pretty well done. It was well choreographed. And I like the fact that you didn't see Herod sitting there watching her kind of drooling all over himself. Instead, it was actually done in a way that was very visually compelling, and I enjoyed that particular scene. Also, John's execution itself, I thought was a great scene. Like I said a minute ago, I like the fact that they interlaced how he got his name into that scene. But there's several things that happens in that sequence. First off, I think the music is very well done during that scene, and then he when he sees the silver platter, he asks what that if that's real silver, and of course the soldier says, "Well, yeah, it's real silver used for wedding ceremonies usually." And John makes this joke that, "Oh, well, I've never been to a wedding ceremony, but I'm going to one now." And they ask him, "Well, what do you mean?" And he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. You're not going to get it." And I just like that little joke that he cracks. And then, right as he's about to get beheaded, he actually looks off into the distance and he sees this lamb. And it's kind of a confirmation that he's completed his mission. And I thought that that was really cool. Now, despite all this heaviness in the episode, there's actually some levity in it as well that's enjoyable. There's a scene where Shula and Barnaby are chaperoning Thomas and Rama, and they're trying to make sure that nothing scandalous like holding hands happens. And I thought that that was actually kind of funny watching that. And of course, it establishes that Thomas and Rama are going to be engaged and want to get married. And I thought that was a cool scene. Also, there's a scene between Judas and Z that I really liked. And it's because in that scene, it establishes a couple of character traits about Judas. One is that he really wants to use his gifts for the ministry, but he's impatient to see the kingdom come about. And because he's impatient, it actually establishes a character flaw that can be used later on to help explain one of the reasons why he falls. And I liked that they added that character flaw about him. Also, I like the fact that the episode ends on some hope. You see Joanna actually come to tell Andrew what happened, and as they're all mourning, Andrew says, "I kind of wish we were prepared more for this." And John speaks up and says, "We were. That's what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to prepare the way. And now, we're walking with Jesus." And I thought that that was really cool. And the final thing that I liked about this episode is, like I said, it's an intense season, and the episode establishes that intensity. And Dallas Jenkins has said that the season is about Jesus being weary and heavy laden. And you actually see the impact that John the Baptist's death has on him. And I thought that that scene was incredibly well done. So overall, there's a lot of things that I liked about this. The acting was really good, and I don't really want to go into that because it's just top notch throughout. I don't think there was one bad performance. So, like I said, there's a lot to like about this episode. There's really not anything I didn't like about this episode. If I had to nitpick anything, the only thing I would say is I think they probably carried on the intercutting of how John got his name a little bit too long after his death. I think that that probably should have ended with the death scene itself. I don't think that it should have carried on much further after that. So that's more of a preference than anything else. And also the Olive Grove story with them needing to create the olive oil. I'm just not real interested in that storyline. It's not a bad storyline because I actually think it does some great character development in it. It's just not a storyline I'm very interested in. But other than that, there's hardly anything I didn't like about this episode. Now, bottom line, was it good? It was absolutely fantastic. I thought that this was a great season premiere that did a lot of good things. It set a great tone for the rest of the season. It draws in the viewer. It's well written and it has top-notch performances. I thought that, like I said, I thought that season 4 was actually the best season so far, and this episode really kicks it off. Now, I'm really looking forward to watching the rest of it to see if I still have the same opinion after I've rewatched the whole season. But already it's off to a great start, and so far I haven't changed my mind about this season. Now, if you're still watching this long, I'd like to go ahead and thank you for still watching. Again, don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.